Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young boy used to live. His name was Jack. Jack was a kind and curious child who loved to explore the vast forests that surrounded his village. Every day, he would set out into the woods with his loyal dog, Max, by his side. One day, as Jack was wandering through the woods, he stumbled upon a hidden path that led to a small cottage. He cautiously approached the cottage and knocked on the door. To his surprise, an old woman answered, welcoming him inside. The old woman introduced herself as a witch and offered Jack some warm soup and bread. Jack was hesitant at first, but he soon realized that the witch was kind and meant him no harm. They chatted for hours about the wonders of the world, and Jack was fascinated by the witch's knowledge. As Jack was about to leave, the witch, she gave him a small, silver seed and told him to plant it in his village. She warned him that the seed was magical and would bring both good and bad fortunes. Jack was excited by the prospect of a magical seed. Jack hurried back to his village and planted it in the center of the town square. Over the next few weeks, the seed grew into a beautiful silver tree that glistened in the sunlight. At first, the village prospered, and everyone was happy. But soon, the villagers began to become greedy and selfish, fighting over who would get to pick the silver leaves from the tree. The village was torn apart by greed, and the once happy community was now filled with anger and envy. Jack realized that the silver tree was causing more harm than good, and he knew that he had to find a way to restore peace to the village. He decided to return to the witch's cottage and seek her help. The witch listened to Jack's story and gave him a small vial of clear liquid. She told him that the liquid was the only thing that could restore balance to the village and cure the greed that had taken hold. Jack raced back to the village and poured the liquid over the silver tree. The tree immediately began to wither and die, and the villagers were horrified. But as the silver leaves fell to the ground, they turned into gold, and the villagers realized that they had been foolish to fight over something so trivial. The village was once again filled with joy and laughter, and Jack was hailed as a hero for saving them from their own greed. The silver tree may have brought both good and bad fortune, but in the end, it was Jack's bravery and wisdom that saved the day. With the village at peace once again, Jack knew that he had to share the lessons he learned with the rest of the world. He decided to embark on a journey to explore new lands, meet new people, and share his story of the silver tree. As he traveled from village to village, Jack encountered many people who were struggling with their own greed and selfishness. He shared the story of the silver tree with them, hoping to inspire them to be more compassionate and understanding. In one village, Jack met a young girl named Lily. Lily was filled with anger and resentment towards her parents, who she believed were always too busy to spend time with her. Jack listened patiently to Lily's story, and he shared with her the lessons he learned from the silver tree. Lily was inspired by Jack's story and realized that she had been focusing too much on what she didn't have, rather than what she did. She decided to forgive her parents and start making an effort to connect with them. Jack was thrilled to see how much Lily had grown in just a short time, and he knew that his journey was worth it. As Jack continued his journey, he encountered many challenges along the way. He faced fierce storms, treacherous mountains, and dangerous creatures, but he never gave up. He knew that the lessons he learned from the silver tree would guide him through any obstacle. One day, as Jack was resting by a river, he met an old man who had been living alone in the woods for many years. The old man was wise and kind, and Jack felt an instant connection to him. They talked for hours about life, love, and the importance of kindness. As the sun began to set, the old man revealed a secret to Jack. He told him that he was the witch who had given him the silver seed so many years ago. Jack was stunned, but he realized that the old man's wisdom had been with him all along. The old man gave Jack a new mission. He told him that he had one more lesson to learn before his journey was complete. Jack needed to find a way to bring the silver tree back to life, but this time, he had to do it without the help of magic. Jack accepted the challenge, and he spent the next several months studying the ways of the earth and learning about the power of nature. He discovered that the key to bringing the silver tree back to life was to care for the earth and respect its power. With this new knowledge, Jack returned to the village where the silver tree once stood. He spent countless hours caring for the earth around it, planting new trees and flowers, and treating the land with the utmost care and respect. Slowly but surely, the silver tree began to grow again. It was not as shiny or as magical as it once was, but it was filled with a new kind of beauty and wonder. As Jack looked up at the tree, he realized that his journey was complete. He had learned the lessons of the silver tree, and he had become a wise and compassionate person because of it. He knew that he had a new purpose in life, to share his wisdom with others and help them find their own paths to happiness and peace. As Jack continued to travel the world, he encountered many people who were struggling with their own issues. Some were dealing with loss, while others were struggling with self-doubt or anxiety. But Jack was always there to listen, to offer a kind word, and to share his story of the silver tree. One day, Jack arrived in a small village where the people were living in fear. They had been plagued by a terrible monster for many years, and they had no idea how to defeat it. Jack knew that he had to help them, and he immediately began to search for a way to defeat the monster. After speaking with the villagers, Jack learned that the monster was a fierce dragon who lived in a nearby cave. The villagers had tried to fight it with swords and shields, but they had never been able to defeat it. Jack knew that he needed to find a different way to defeat the dragon, and he began to study its habits and behaviors. One day, Jack noticed that the dragon always seemed to become more aggressive when the villagers talked about how afraid they were of it. Jack realized that the dragon's power came from their fear, and he knew that the only way to defeat it was to show the villagers that they had nothing to fear. Jack spent the next several days working with the villagers, teaching them how to be brave and strong in the face of danger. He showed them how to use their minds and hearts to overcome their fears and doubts. Slowly but surely, the villagers began to feel more confident and empowered. Finally, the day arrived when Jack and the villagers were ready to face the dragon. They gathered their courage and marched to the cave where it lived. As they approached, the dragon roared and breathed fire, but Jack and the villagers stood firm. Jack knew that the dragon's power came from their fear, and he knew that the only way to defeat it was to face it with love and compassion. He stepped forward and began to talk to the dragon, telling it about the power of love and kindness. To everyone's amazement, the dragon began to calm down. Its fiery breath turned to smoke, and its fierce eyes softened. Finally, the dragon spoke, telling Jack that it had been cursed by a wicked sorcerer many years ago. The sorcerer had stolen its treasure, and the dragon had been forced to protect it ever since. Jack knew that he had to help the dragon break the curse, and he set out to find the sorcerer. After many long and difficult weeks, Jack finally located the sorcerer and convinced him to remove the curse from the dragon. With the curse broken, the dragon was finally free. It thanked Jack and the villagers for their kindness and generosity, and it flew away, never to be seen again. The villagers were overjoyed, and they thanked Jack for his bravery and wisdom. They knew that they had learned a valuable lesson about the power of love and compassion, and they promised to share that lesson with others. As Jack left the village and continued on his journey, he knew that he had made a difference in the world. He had shown the villagers that love and compassion were stronger than fear and violence, and he had helped to free a creature who had been cursed for many years. Jack knew that there was still much work to be done in the world, but he felt confident and empowered. He knew that as long as he remained true to the lessons of the silver tree, he would be able to make a difference in the lives of others. And so, he continued on his journey, spreading love and kindness wherever he went.